trying to figure out where the best place to mount this would be. Because of these, we have these extra like retention clips here. And what I may end up doing is using some of that leftover strip. I have it laying around here somewhere. I'm not sure where I put it at. Leftover kind of adhesive strip from the other thing. I think it's one of these boxes. Put it on the back, or I might get some online, then we'll just have to wait a bit longer. Here we go. Got a couple strips of this left. Put one on each one of these. And instead of screws, because I don't think there's anywhere that these could bolt into, you know. Bolt into effectively. This will essentially it'll essentially go in like this. So we'll have this is twisted around the wrong direction here. Okay, there we go. So essentially it will be like this. And sit in here like this. This will bolt into this. Damn, it doesn't exactly fit there, does it? Well, that sucks. Well. We may have to rely on the adhesive and this tape. May have to. Let's see. What to do with the back plate? The one for the original pump. Oh, it's in the thing, isn't it? That's right. In the box. Pump box. Pump box. If I had a dollar for every time I put something somewhere, then just mysteriously kind of vanished. Of course, it's probably right in front of me. It usually is. Oh, there it is. How do you get underneath BenQ's thing? Yeah, see, this had the proper mounting. Well, almost did. It also doesn't quite fit in here, does it? See, the way I would have been screwed, huh? Interesting. This does come out, by the way, just to show you. It has used both these clips to do that with. I won't be needing this because I'm just going to have the terabyte SSD and maybe 2 terabyte SSD. I may use one of them in there for an HD, hard disk drive SSD. But there's 3 bays here, maybe 4. Actually, I think it's 4. So that should be more than enough. I'm just going to take this out. I will have that extra space open. I think this is the right size bit here. That screw. I think this one is. This may also be a little stripped. Let's try a bigger one. When in doubt, go bigger. No, maybe that one was the right one. I just had it on. Tighten like an idiot. That's not the right one. This one is, I think. That one feels pretty well stripped. Let's try one of these. There we go. These bits actually have like it's a four-way thing, so it's a little more surface area to work with. Pretty sure they made it with this in mind, with screws that are a little bit tougher, maybe even stripped out a little bit. The head stripped out. Give you a little more room to work with. There's some screws on the other side to take out too. Do that real quick. Those are pretty tough on there too, man. Pretty solid construction. Screws hold really well. And this just comes right, yeah, comes right out. So now I've got a place down there for some additional fans if I wanted to do so. Maybe to have a little bit of airflow out through the bottom. So I'm going to be pulling air in through the top and through the back, exhaust it through the bottom. Well, yeah, through here, and in this way. Put the exhaust down here so it'll kind of all flow in that way. Now you might be thinking, well, wouldn't that make the cold air just go out and leave the hot air? Well, to a certain extent, yes, but at the same time, the air should be slightly distributed, so it shouldn't be too bad. So, what we're going to do now is figure out how we're going to mount this thing in here. Alright, so what I can do is, while we're working with this, let's go and unhook all the tubing. Well, that's no good. We're bringing out the fitting instead of the tubing. So the compression, what the hell? Well, I got that pretty down there pretty tight then, I guess. Man, that shouldn't happen. A little too finger tight. Tie it down a little bit more than I normally would want to. And we'll do the same up here with this. Okay, just gonna get that stuff out of the way. And these are on rotating things too, so they can just be moved out of the way easily. So I want to know is, can these pads support the weight of this thing on their own? Should be enough time for these ones on the back to adhere to the plate here. As you can see, I added the third one on there in the middle. Did like a quick, rough job. Maybe we can use one of these screws on each of these. One on this side and then one like up here somewhere, or maybe one on this side down here and one of the ones up here on the one of those. But it's gonna be interesting to get to work right. Okay. So something like that. Just going to take the adhesive off the back here. Now let's go ahead and also take these off. It's getting in the way. We really should also take off the reservoir, but I'm not going to. Should be careful with these. It's quite easy, I found, to actually start pulling off the adhesive along with the back protective pad on them. Like just like right there. That might be a cause for concern for whether or not this will be able to stay on here or not. So you put it in. Let's see. So I think what happened is when I went and cut it, it kind of did some weird things with the pad on the bottom. Okay. So I got a hold of this thing. It's gonna be impossible. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording and I'll work on this and we'll come back. Alright, so I went and did some of the build while I was waiting for the camera to recharge. And we're just gonna go over what I've done. So first thing you're gonna notice is this here. I know this looks really kind of ridiculous, but it's pretty solid as it is now. I just couldn't find any screws that would work on this back in these holes here. They'd be long enough to reach through the plate, and nothing to secure them on the other side. The closest thing I could get were those really long screws, these ones, but they only threaded a part of the way up. And so I'm trying to show you them while I'm so yeah, they're only threaded about maybe not even a quarter, about a third of the way up, or not even a third, but a quarter of the way up, and they're just flat through there, so couldn't use them. And then I decided to go ahead and do some other stuff, check some things out. One thing I want to mention is well, not if, just period, with this motherboard, you see that this heat pipe right here? any card you put in slot 1, you're going to have to kind of move it down a little bit in order to seat it fully, because otherwise it's going to hit on this heat pipe and it won't fully seat into the the PCIe slot. So how I did this was essentially, actually I had to switch this because I had this going in here and out here and then in here and out there, so I'd have to go across. So that's another thing. You're going to make sure you're going in, then out on the same side you're going in on the other card, so you can link the two up there. But what I did with this is I just put the cards in without the tubing or the the compression fitting part on there, and just kind of took a piece of tubing, like this one here, and just kind of went over and said, okay, well, it's about here to here. Made a little mark on it with my utility knife, and then just used the hose cutter. And look at these things. There's some, they're frigging, I don't know. It's just insane. Just one shot easily it cuts through this hose. So I'm just gonna do a little piece off of here. Just snap. Very sharp, very awesome. And just, measured it out, did that. So what I'm doing with this is, you can see here I also connected up a section of tubing to the MOSFETs there. So what we will be doing right now is kind of just going over and figuring out a couple things. I've had to change some of the plans on the tubing. For example, on this, the 140, I decided that I'm going to have them on the top instead of on the bottom. So instead of this way, it's going to be this way. I decided to do this because it's going to work better here. The GPU will go into the CPU. CPU will go into the 140. The 140 will go into the 280, and the 280 will go into the MOSFETs, and the MOSFET will go into the reservoir. I'm doing it that way because I think it just makes more sense that way. Get as much cooling done in congruency than just putting a radiator and two radiators different places in the loop. Get as much heat pulled off as possible. That way we're not trying to deal with equalizing the temperature of the coolant throughout by putting radiators in weird places. We're just saying, alright, through this part of the loop, we've gone through the GPUs and now the CPU. The water in the liquid is going to be, the fluid's going to be fairly warm. We're going to put through all this radiator space and cool it down, then pipe it through the MOSFETs. So what we're going to be doing now is actually installing the radiators. I've actually also changed my idea for how this is going to work. I'm going to have the radiator just bolted right onto the back, and then we'll have the one Icasa fan pulling air in through it into the case. And then we can just put the, we'll put the 280 up there on top. And we'll have the Icasa fans on top pushing air through. So it'll be a push-pull configuration, but it won't be on the same radiator. It'll be pulling from this one and pushing from this one. And then I'll have a fan down here that will be, I'm going to take probably this 140 and maybe this 200 if it'll fit. I don't think the 200 will fit down there, but if it does, we'll put both of them down here as exhaust out the bottom of the case. So, basically when you go through and do tubing, this is essentially how you do it. You get some tubing, so you get this. Well, let's take this off, so this is already one that I've done. So let's say we have this. What you do is you decide where you want to start from on determining the length of the tubing. So we're just going to start with the CPU block again. You just put the, in this case we're putting it down here just where it's going to go probably. And then we say, okay, well, we're going from here. So we want to go over here to the GPU block. So you just go down here, figure out the distance you'll need, and then you cut a piece out. Very important is that you should cut more than you need at first, because then you go back through and fine tune it once everything's in place. If everything's not in place already, like I have to wait for tomorrow for the CPU to come to put this into place. Let me adjust this a bit. a little bit much. I'm trying to get so it's like looking where I'm looking at, so I don't have to do some weird stuff. It's really hard to kind of adjust properly, especially the head mounted unit. Okay, that's pretty good. So, since I don't have the CPU to bolt this onto there with, you just have to kind of estimate it, and I've already done the estimation with this one piece of tubing here. So it's about going to take this much to get to here. So in other words, it would be like this. Obviously it's going to be, there'll be a little bit that I'll cut off after I've got the CPU in. But essentially it would go like this, pretty much. It's a little tight here because, like I said, there's a little extra that I need to take out. That's essentially what it's going to look like there. And that's going to go over here to this radiator. And that's what we're going to be working on right now. I'm going to take this off again. I also had to kind of change what I was going to do. Careful with this. I kind of took this off a little too quickly earlier and smashed things up into here. Didn't really hurt anything, but yes, don't want to be too crazy with it. I made a post on Tom's Hardware Forum about the PSU. I think the tester just doesn't work well with that, because I brought down, after that happened, brought down a power supply from upstairs, and a couple of them actually tested them, and they all either failed entirely or failed somewhat. So I think that Thermaltake tester's POS, or maybe I just got a defective unit or something. We'll find out though tomorrow when I do a leak test. We'll see if things blow up or not. Any magical blue smoke gets released. Because as Adam Savage says, and as is the truth, when he released the magic blue smoke, electronics don't work anymore. So we'll see if we'll release that smoke or not. So what we want to do now is I'm going to take this fan off back here, and the screws are on the opposite side, so let's get rid of these I/O plates. Actually, we should probably replace some of them. I had a heck of a time trying to figure this all out. There's actually one I/O plate here that just isn't used for anything, so right off the bat you're kind of being screwed over by the fact that there's a plate here that's not used for anything. I'm also going to change how the draining system is going to work. Originally I was going to have it just be in here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run a tube. What did I do with that long piece of tube that I had from before? Actually, I probably used it for other stuff already. Let's cut myself another one. It might have been this one though. No, it definitely wasn't that one. I had a piece of tubing around here somewhere. I think I probably used it. I think I did. Or, no, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. But the idea is, oh wait, here it is. The idea is that I'm going to have this go through here, come out of here, and I'm actually going to run it through one of these grommets. Then I'm going to have the capped off valve on this end, and then I can just use the, just pull this around and do whatever I need to do with it there. Again, I'll have to add some way of forcing through either air or maybe some kind of water through, other liquid through this to flush the system out. I'm also changing this though, because this isn't going to work the way I originally envisioned it, because this thing, if this comes right off of here, so we have this coming off here, this coming off of here, it hangs out like right here. I want this to kind of come off this way. Maybe even on top of the PSU, and then this will connect up to this somehow. So what we need to do with this, or maybe not use this at all. Well, no, we have to use this because we want to do we want to have one end going for the, to be honest though, we'd have to have two valves, I guess, if we think about it. One to turn off this way, and one to turn on this way. I don't know. So I may have some modifications to do after the fact. So what I'm planning on doing now is, let's see, where's that funnel at? On this funnel there's a G1/4 fitting. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go directly into one of these through a male to male, I think, now, so I can use this right angle fitting for something else. Here we go. So I get a, actually it wouldn't be a male to male, it'd be a, yeah, it wouldn't work though. This is the one place where I was like, I need a different thing for this. This necessitates having that right angle fitting. Dang. So let's see. Let's say that we have this. This goes directly onto this fitting here. Let's grab one of the compression fittings. Okay. Alright, so we have this here. And let's say that we want to go to that Y fitting here. So we go in here. See, I think we have to go into this end so it'll split off. If we go in here, it'll just go through here, it won't go through here. So like I was thinking maybe go like this, or something like this. But no. So what we want to do with this, go to the Y here. Then I want to try and get it somehow so that I can do this and then do this out to here. The question is how to do that with the PSU right there. And without kinking the hose in here somewhere. So this is my external one, so I'm going to keep this over here. Anything that I already have cut to length, I'm going to make sure I'm not using it. Do I have any other smaller pieces? Nope. Alright, so that's the one we'll use then. So we want to cut it right here. I'll go a little bit further up just to be on the safe side. Okay. Grab one of these. Now I'm going to be taking this bottom section of tubing out because we'll have to deal with the PSU first, but before I put it back in. But this is just kind of a fitting thing to see how things will work. Alright, so now I want to go from this one. I'll put both the fittings on here. So I'm going to do something like this into here. So let's shorten this up. So I'm just trying to figure out different distances here. And we have to also keep in mind we have the side panel to deal with. Take into consideration too. Let's shorten this up a bit more. I have enough leftover tubing over here to handle any kind of screw-ups. Let's take off maybe about this much. That's not going to be very... this is alright. Sometimes you get a little bit too angular on the cuts and things like that happen. You get a little bit of a off cut on the tubing and it kind of screws things up a little bit. Okay. Well, you know, it would help if we were on the correct thing. I attached that and I realized I knew that was the wrong one, but I just put it on there anyway. Because that's just how I roll, I guess. Alright, there we go. Now we're on the right section there. So if I can figure out how to make this work somehow. Let's see. Well, let's grab that hose here. Run it through. Let's go through this side. So we have this here, then we can actually see how it's going to interact. Now you remember we have the PSU here, so that's going to be a little bit of a resistance problem there. So this will probably have to come up like this, and that's going to be a little bit of a kink area. If only this was over here. And yes, these are twist ties. Oh, wow. That's totally screwed that one up. I had that tighter than that. Alright, so we go the other way. And we go this way. This one I'm not sure about. Let's wait till I get the PSU end to do with this one, because it's gonna, this area down here is gonna be determining what's gonna happen with that. So, that said, now let's go Let's actually go ahead and put this stupid thing in. I was actually getting to that point. Well, we were going to do that. Then we got sidetracked by this, and then we started talking about this stuff, and then, yeah. So let's go ahead and throw these back in, and then also do the tightening down on the GPUs here. These things are so annoying. So you get them at just the wrong angle, they will just be insane. So where the ratchet comes in handy here. Actually, we need to make sure, yeah, that's not either. These aren't properly, dang. No, other way. Same thing with this one. Because they actually have little tabs on the bottom that go on they go outside to lock into the, so they go like this to lock them in there. Okay. Go and ratchet this down. Ah. Okay. Okay, one more. That we can tighten down the GPUs too. Okay. Okay. So these ones we'll take and do something with. Should be another two somewhere over here. Over here. And I'll find them eventually. Oh, they're over here. You'll have to kind of horse these in. Well, not the screws, but the actual faceplate section here. Because they don't exactly fit directly where they're supposed to. But that's fine because it means that you're having a little more of a sure fit. Snug fit. It's not gonna, Instacard's not gonna go slipping around everywhere. I'm doing both just because, you know, those water blocks are heavy. Well, it's gonna be interesting. Ow. First blood. Feels like I'm playing Unreal Tournament 4. What do I do with those paper towels? There they are. Actually surprised this didn't happen yet. Pretty sure it was that Thunderbolt header. No, it wasn't. It was a fan header. I'll deal with that later. Let me see. Flashlight it. It's interesting thing's gonna be running all these cables around this thing. Probably have to try and do a lot of things in the back behind it. There's actually on the panels, actually like a section there that's pushed out just for this reason for cable management. A little bit better than the original Phantom case in that regard. Now let's go and do the other card here. That was a little more involved than I thought it was, huh? Jeez. But if you don't bleed for a computer build, you haven't really built a computer, in my opinion. Alright, this one's gonna be fine. A lot easier to put in. I think this port is a little bit closer to the back plates than this one is, for some reason. Now, what's really interesting was getting these cards in, because when you do this, you have to have them already connected with the tubing. So you're really putting two cards in at once. And it's not too hard to do, but it's kind of tricky. Alright. Those are not going any frigging where. Those are tight. Solid and in there. So you can see a whole mess over here. And a whole mess over here. About 80% of the stuff that you see here is going away once everything's in the case, because most of it goes into the case. Alright, let's go ahead and flip it up. So what I did with this is we used that, I have a seat here. So what I did with this is I used that that foam that has a double-sided thing on it, double-sided adhesive. I put it on the back of this top bracket and on the back of the mounting plate for this, and that did pretty well, but it didn't feel too solid. So that's why I added in these twist ties, because the zip ties weren't going to make it around, and that's added in some extra reinforcement. At least this top one has, and it's pretty solid now. Of course, we'll find out for sure tomorrow when I throw in 750 milliliters of distilled water, and we'll see what that does to it. The reason I'm doing 750 is because Mann's Pastel, the ones they give you are 250 per bottle, and that goes into a 750 amount of distilled water to make 1 liter. So I'm just going to put the 750 in here, then we'll put the 250 into there as well, and then we'll If I need more, then I'll make up another batch of it. I'm getting, I think, 3 bottles, so should be more than enough. Especially because I'm going to try and do a minimalist loop where there's, as little as loop, as little of small of runs as possible, shortest runs as possible. This is what's called a run, by the way. It's where you're going from one, it's like, where is it? It's where you're going from one water block to another, well, one fitting to another fitting. That's a run. I'm trying to keep those as small as possible, except for maybe down here, because this is where the craziness will happen. So let me go grab the power supply and we'll throw it in. Let's get some of this stuff around, out of the way. It's over there, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the power supply in here now. They give you this, the case badge in this thing. It's another one of those double-sided adhesive foam pad things. I'm not sure really what it's for, because it's just frigging small. I mean, where would it even go? Maybe along this edge here or something? I don't know. So maybe I'll use it to make this more secure or something. I don't know. For some other purpose. So we got our screws here to connect the power supply to the back. Go and get them out here. They only give you 4, so don't lose one of them. That's the downside to having magnetic tools, is that they'll pick up everything and everything that's metal. So just kind of rotate this around a bit so we can get a better look at it. One thing I forgot to mention is that the fan here, you see the fan, it can actually be changed for all kinds of stuff. It also has mountings for a 120mm fan too. So the 120mm goes on the inside, 140 on the outside, and they got all this. So you can actually do a double 120, I think. Can't do a double 140, that's not big enough for that. So I might also adjust where the where we're going to put the radiator on here. Maybe to line it up more with the 280. So I'm going to just go like a straight across kind of thing. Let's see. Let me grab the flashlight here. So you have the screw hole, it's a little bit off, which is interesting. Trying to screw something in left-handed is kind of a difficult task here. Let's do the bottom one first. Kind of help us out here a bit. So the next one is up here at top. I want to tighten this one down until we get it lined up. Actually, we can't because of this one. So once again, tightening before we were actually ready to tighten. Screwed me over again here. Try not to over loosen it though. Okay. that should be good. Gonna tighten this one down too. Okay, let's go and do the top one here now. Still a little bit off, isn't it? Oh, this is insane. Let's go and untighten this one. Again, not all the way, but enough that we can move it around. Same with this one, because this one's going to hold it down too. Wonder why it doesn't fit. Yeah, it's not, size doesn't quite fit on the case. It's weird. I'm noticing a lot of that kind of stuff. Things just don't quite line up like you'd expect them to. So I'm going to be able to get this set up a bit more too. Alright. Alright, and then the final one, which is stuff's in the way of it. We're putting it in here. I really have no faith in that power tester, really. I've never had a bad PSU. And for everything I've read on the AX1200i, not many people, maybe 5% of people got a bad, dead power supply. Dead new one. So we're just going to take a gamble and see what happens with it. So we got it in place, it's all tightened down. You can now start thinking about what we're going to do with the tubing. Go ahead and flip it back over here. Lost my handhold. Whoa, man. That power supply added about 10 pounds of this thing. Not expect that. Okay, so. Move these back down into the way here. Okay. Our tubing monstrosity. Okay. Grab a compression fitting here. Actually, no, this is the one that goes on. Okay. Okay, let's goes through here. Then adjust world. This would go something like this. So we're going to have to try and take it down around the power supply on the edge here, which there should be enough room to do. And it's going to have to bend down and around a bit. So this will be a final fitting. So whatever we do here is what's going to stay. So let's go right about here. I've got enough that if I need to. Look at that. Cut's really just kind of nasty. Try that again. Try and get it as close to the edge as possible here. A little bit better. There you go. A little too short, I think. Yeah, no, I cut it a little too short. Damn. Alright, well, maybe we can do this one. It's a little bit larger. First, now I gotta redo this side of it. It's like blown out on the side there or something. Now it's just a short. Damn. Alright, let's do this again. So again, I have a lot of hose, so it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, that'll be a good starting point. Back here. Alright. Okay. Go ahead and fit this end here. Then okay, so like right about here. We'll give a little extra though. Just want to be on the safe side this time. Fitting on here. Actually, we need 2 fittings. It's a little tight fit. I don't believe it's kinking or anything. Plus, it's really thick tube too, so a tiny small little kink there, here and there, isn't going to have too much of an effect.